Hey guys, what's up? It's Roth, and I am so excited to be here with Team Korra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks
Brian
for having us.
Konietzko, who is the co-creator of both Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. Joaquin Dos Santos?
Yes.
Yay!
Very good names. Very good names. Congratulations.
I know, it's the little things. I don't have much going for me, so it's the little things. You're the co-producer, yes? Excellent work, you guys. And of course, you guys know PJ Byrne.
Hello, yes.
Bolin.
Bolin, backed.
We love Bolin. All right. You guys just had your panel. It went great. The crowd, you can't believe how many people were in there and trailing outside.
That was really cool. They opened up the back doors so that the people who couldn't get seats could still see the panel. That was the first time I've seen that at a convention, which was really nice. So,
Sweet, yeah.
And I know you've been asked this we've asked you this about how you feel about the cons, but I mean, what is it? Does each one sort of bring a new level of experience with the fan, a new understanding of the impact of the show?
I mean, for me, it's just humbling. It's incredibly humbling. And I will say, this con compared to San Diego, there was like a respect level from the fans. There was I think it was a combination of just being thankful that we were here and that we had cool stuff to show. But yeah, there was like a respect level.
Yeah, I feel like it was for us. You know, we're kind of working on the show and it moves forward so slowly. But then we're finally so excited to show episodes and so we're kind of excited to check in with the fans and then I know for us it's so exhausting making the show that it's like a recharge. It's like a battery recharge every time we get to go to the conventions and just know that our work is connecting with people and that they're inspired by it, and that inspires us to make more work and work harder and stuff. So it's always fun. It's always nice and touching. It's very touching,
No, it is. So I think the cons now essentially are like a thank you tour. It's like we appreciate you appreciating the show, and I honestly think that we bring that into the booth when we're recording, and we understand the responsibility and how much people love it, and how much if they're having a crappy day it changes their day or whatever for whatever reason they watch the show. And I think we really feel that, and we just love you. We just love you.
We love you. I mean, really, there's so many layers to this show, which is one of the reasons that I enjoy it as much as I do. Let's dig in. We just saw the episode.
Let's dig in,
guys.
Let's dig in.
All right, let's get real here for a minute.
Real talk.
Everybody get quiet
It's
and
a
let's get
safe
real.
half circle. It's a
All
very
right.
safe half circle.
This is the zone of trust right here. We can say anything.
Do it.
When's
spoilers.
book 4
Yeah.
coming
No spoilers.
out?
I had no idea.
You can't ask that question.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You
We're
can
actually.
ask. We just don't have the answer. It's being made, I can tell you that.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit in a moment, but I want to talk about the episode first. We'll talk about sort of the fan anticipation for the next book and the next book and the next book. But we just saw the episode everybody's been talking about, which is the introduction of the first Avatar 1, voiced by the very awesome, really, he did an amazing job,
He was so good.
Stephen Yeun.
He sounds like a voiceover pro, and that was his first animation voiceover work. So
He was really nervous.
Steve Yeun.
He was
Yeah,
so
Steve Yeun.
nervous. I was scared for him.
Steve Yeun of The Walking Dead, you guys. So he was really nervous watching this in front of 1,000 people. It was excellent. But let's talk about this. You said that you had the initial idea during Last Airbender.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot of pressure to come up with the notion of who the Avatar is, why the Avatar came into being.
Well,
what did you want to...
Well, to be clear, we came up with the idea, and I mean, we definitely had a lot of the broad strokes of it and who the character was, that he was this trickster, that he stole the element and stuff like that. But, Tim Hedrick, Josh Hamilton, our writers, they added a lot too. So, Mike and I had this kind of outline of what that world would be like and the scenario and kind of what that character was like and a rough idea of how he became the Avatar. But all of that got developed with Mike and the writers and me now. So, a lot of times, as an artist, you might do a sketch. Years later, that becomes something, So we had kind of the sketch of that mentally. In I can't remember exactly when it was, but maybe 2006, 2007. And, it was just something where this would be other ideas in this world, that we'd like to explore, and that was one of them. And it just worked out that it wove into the story nicely for Korra, so...
It wove in really perfectly for Korra because that's, of course, been her big challenge is finding the balance between, she's so feisty, but she's such a brawler and so of the earth. And I've been wondering, when is she really going to tap into her Aang-like spirit nature, Looks like we're going to have our answer. I want to ask you this. Some of the fans have been saying she's almost getting too tempestuous. What do you sort of have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I actually even was talking to the writers about that back when we were writing it, but it's funny. I think if the fans would think back to like where they were with a character throughout Avatar. Oh, Zuko, why did he go bad at the end of book 2? He was supposed to go good. There's arcs we're taking them through, and Korra, if you look at it, like she's learned air. She's the Avatar now, but nothing's going right. She broke up with her mentor. She broke up with her boyfriend. She broke up with her dad. It's like all of this stuff's falling apart. She's fighting her cousins, like her uncle who she trusted is, you're kind of seeing that being headstrong, being pugnacious doesn't always work, and so she's kind of she's at this low point.
She's hitting like the lowest point right now.
Yeah,
like,
so you have to take characters through that stuff.
Without the booze, though.
No
Without the
booze.
alcohol.
Yeah,
that's
it's what I think it is. It's kind of flattering that we create characters that people connect with so much, and they just want to hang out with them for 22 minutes. But you can't just make 22 minutes of like no conflict and people doing everything right and getting along. That's not the kind of shows we're trying to make. We want to take these characters through the trials of their lives that are going to help form them into the people they're meant to be. And so yes, she's irritating right now, and she's kind of like flying off the handle, but that is very intentional.
Well, and it's funny, too, and tell me if I'm reading too much into this. I probably am. But it's kind of like you need the dissolution of that ego. You need that. You need all that broken down in order to tap into that deeper part of yourself. Thoughts? Anyone?
Yeah, that's a very, Buddhist philosophy angle is, you have to break down the ego. And Korra is so tied up in her ego. And that doesn't mean being egotistical. It's the idea that you have this persona that you have to hang on to and that defines you and all this stuff. Yeah, she needs to break that down to be able to tap into that deeper stuff.
Well, speaking of ego, one of the fun storylines this season, I think, has been the idea of Bolin as a star, because it's really poking fun a lot at the idea of fandom and how silly it is. Has that been really fun for you?
Yeah, I mean, I love that Bolin gets to be someone else, but I think the most humorous thing to me is he can't sometimes discern who Nuktuk is or Bolin is, and he's trying to always jump through those hoops, figuring out what's going on and what's real and what's not real, what movie star loves him or doesn't love him. So I think it's a fascinating world to play in that world.
It's the first mover. Yeah. So he's just confused. He's like, wait, is this real life? I don't know what's going on.
The smartest guy. And exactly. It's the first movie. It's like, is that me looking at me or am I actually doing that? But I'm right here next to you. What's happening? Yeah.
But hello.
Yeah.
Is it also kind of purposely making fun of fame a little bit? It's a lesson for the kids.
I think the first idea, when Mike and I wrote book 1, just the two of us together, and then just with the overlap of the production schedule, we had to bring in some more writers, so we brought our friends, 2 of our friends from Avatar to come back. We like to keep the teams really small, and so Tim and Josh came, and Mike and I at that point we had a bunch of ideas for what book 2 was going to be, stuff that we had developed during book 1, but we said there's no room for it. Let's use it for book 2, and but I remember really clearly day 1 when those guys were there, and we just sat them down and we like filled them in on, here are all our ideas that we have for book 2, and then it was like we were just riffing. We're like, Mako becomes a cop, Bolin becomes a movie star, and it was like we were thinking of very like 1920s kind of iconic things, and you've got the movie industry kicking off, and we just loved this idea, and I think what we're not poking fun at fandom or fame, we're just poking fun at old movies, old like Flash Gordon serials and stuff.
Well, it kind of like the it's sort of even like propaganda films too.
Well, yes, yeah, and yeah, totally, and it's just fun. We had so much fun making the Nuktuk stuff. I know, like the directors, like they just want to make a full Nuktuk like movie, like they in the like
yeah.
Bolin, I would love to star.
Well, what's insane too is hearing like Tim is Varric when he talks.
Yeah.
Josh is Bolin, and then it gets like filtered through. It's the weirdest thing being in meetings with them because they will say stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's Bolin, that's Varric, and then you say it, I'm like, hey, you're Bolin. They bring so much to it,
Those two guys really do have those personalities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got into it. That's great.
All right, I know we got to wrap it up. You guys are so busy, but I just want to ask one quick question because I think also the sequence with Eska and the idea of the challenges of relationships. Give the world your warning about relationships via what Bolin has learned through Eska.
When a person owns you, you shouldn't date them. Those are my thoughts.
Really quickly, what can you tease about what we'll see, flashbacks of what we've seen already of the spirit world coming up?
At this point in the story, we really start heavily going into the spirit world, and it really dominates a lot of the back half of book 2. So it's really cool, just a crazy sense of adventure and mystery and mysticism, and we get to see the Avatar1 story, and then Korra and the clip that we showed, the kind of step-by-step thing. Their journey, and there's just so much.
There's a lot of range. It's fun. It's super dramatic. It's scary. It's all over the place.
So when do you think maybe we'll see book 3? People already want to know.
No, I mean, I can say what we're aiming for, and I know that from the fans' perspective,
You're in production now, yes.
we're in production on book 4 and book 3 and book 2. So there's overlap. We're still finishing the post production on the last 3 episodes of book 2. So we're doing book 3. We're in the middle of main production on that, and just starting post-production on that. And we're on pre-production on book 4. So in terms of like the thing is, just because an episode's done doesn't mean we're ready to air. We have to have enough episodes in the can ready to consistently air, so it doesn't mean that we're ready. And then the network has their programming schedule, but it's all dependent on getting enough of them done in order. Because sometimes our episodes fall out of order, and we might have enough done, but not in the right order to air them and stuff. So we're hoping, definitely as early as we can next year to show book 3.
We know it takes a lot of work. We thank you guys for it. We love the show.
Thank you.
You guys can see the introduction of the very first Avatar next Friday, and look for it. It's an amazing episode. Thank you.
Dip. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate it. Thank
That
you.
was great.
IGN people.
Thanks.